Hi all, this is a very quick review of my Euro Swiss franc buy trade, the second buy trade I did yesterday. So the setup was mostly based on very strong buyers up, very strong sells down, but they could not really break the support over here by these buyers. Another buyers come up, some distribution happens here as sellers build up their positions, as I can see from the ranging and action over here. And sells come down again, failed to break the support, and I saw on the lower time frame that there was some sort of pause happening at this buyer's area. So once sales came down, and the sales um, had been ranging over here for quite a while, and yet they just stopped and started to base. My entry was not over there. My entry was actually at this candle. I think the entry was a bit too early because I probably do not have enough confirmation that the buyers are done just yet. My entry should have been at least after this candle move. Okay, so that's where I think my entry should have been. I think that's where my entry was, if I remember correctly. So that was a small mistake in regarding the entry choice. Stop loss placement was logical and just below this buyer. Now my take profit reasoning I think was a little bit flawed, and I can show why here. So I chose this take profit because this was the high of the sellers before. This was the high. This was actually the high, but if I just see this piece, this is a buyer move up, seller move down, buyer move up over here on a lower time frame, and then sell move down. So this whole thing above there seemed like a fake out to me, a faker. So that's why I did not consider that as the target to aim for. Similarly to over here, how I did not consider this to be the target to aim for. I considered just this one. So that was the reason for my target, and but I think the flaw in that logic was, if I look at this trade over here, the target over here makes sense because that's where the actual local high was, right? This is a local high, but here the local high is over here, right? So I think it makes sense for me to target, especially if I'm playing this accumulation from the bottom towards the top. It makes sense for me to target the local high over here, especially since this is a fresh, untested resistance. There's been no test of this resistance so far. So that was the logical first target, and then I would have expected probably in most of the cases, depending on how the buys come up, I think in most of the cases I would expect a reaction down. So I think that was really where the target should have been. So that was a mistake with the target choice, but I think the read was totally fine because as we can see, the read did indeed actually play out. But there's another part to this story, that is I actually got spiked out in this trade due to the trade being open and with a bit of a small stop, just 6 pips, almost 6 pips stop loss. This trade was open during the rollover period of the New York close, and during the rollover period, I found out, I've learned now that this is when the brokers often either cut trading or for about 15 minutes, or they will spike up the spreads. And this is around where the swap rates will be charged onto traders' positions as well. So I knew that having a trade or trading during the dead hours is dangerous, or not necessarily dangerous. I knew that there wouldn't be much activity during the dead hours, but I still decided to hold on through these dead hours because I thought, well, the logic makes sense to me. So I thought I would just play the logic and play the read, which was, I think, not a bad decision given the information I had at that time. I just did not expect these whipsaws, and that took me out. My broker actually took me out somewhere around here instead of over here as shown by FXEM. My broker Pepperstone took me out somewhere around here. So that was a bit unfortunate that I actually lost some money to learn this lesson and actually witness what happened to this to the trade during these times in a live. So, but that's a very good lesson for me, I think, and I will definitely be careful having open positions or having trades run during the rollover period, and especially the dead hours session in the future. So overall, I think this was again a decent read. Not the best entry, but a decent read. Because if even though I did not have the best entry, it was a conscious choice for me to hold on after I realized that yes, okay, this is looking like the buyers are basing, so this should go up. So that was a good decision. Stop loss placement again in line with my original plan of letting congestion happen. I'm happy with that decision. Take profit was just a bit illogical. So the lesson for this, two main lessons, was firstly the dead hours lesson, and the second main lesson is when there's a fresh untested resistance and I'm buying an accumulation or a zone towards that resistance, I should look to be taking out some profits at the resistance, especially if I anticipate some sort of reaction to happen. And in almost all cases, or in most of the cases, a reaction does happen at these resistances. That's what my market experience has told me so far. Okay, so that's all. Thanks, and comments and questions are very much welcome.